Now, with identical twins, you don't have to worry about mismatch of tissues, and it's not going to get rejected. But if you're dealing with just anyone giving an organ to someone else, there's a huge chance of mismatch and rejection. So what Dr. Terasaki developed was a technology to be able to identify who is the right donor for which recipient, and based on that, eliminate a lot of the issues that existed with transplant. Based on this technology, he started a company that then they sold a few years ago to Thermo Fisher, and based on some of the proceeds, he started to build a foundation of which the Institute is a big beneficiary. So the Institute, what we're trying to do is really build on the legacy that Dr. Terasaki started on innovating personalized wellness and cures, so really personalized health. And our mission is to invent and foster real solutions that enhances the health of individuals. So that's what we're trying to do. So when you see what our mission is not just doing research, but also fostering their applications, really pushing them through this process. And we're located in Los Angeles, which is a beautiful city. We have now 3 different buildings. These 2 buildings on the left-hand side are our legacy buildings, which are grandfathered from Dr. Terasaki, and we recently bought a new building, which is going to be our flagship building here in Los Angeles, which is going to be a bigger building, about 50,000 square feet, which is going to be added to our additional building. So overall, there's a significant amount of space that we're trying to build to really make a top-notch research institute here in Los Angeles. So I definitely encourage everyone to start interacting with us and looking at our website. It's been recently developed and is still up and running, but and still being further edited. But you can now start to look at some of the different pages, and you start getting a sense of some of the things that we're trying to do with personalized health. And when you think about this concept of personalized medicine, or more also referred to as precision medicine, what people have been trying to do is to try to understand the variability that exists between individuals, and based on that, be able to tailor medical treatments or diagnostic approaches. So at the Terasaki Institute, we're looking at this whole thing differently and in much more of a holistic approach. So typically what the whole medicine field is based on is the top approach, which involves a lot of omics, where what people try to do is basically try to sequence the genome, look at the proteomics, look at the glycomics, and do bioinformatics and similar kinds of things. And based on understanding how this molecules are expressed in the biological tissue, try to identify what kind of drugs, for example, would be beneficial for the patient. Now, this is what we think is a very powerful approach, but it's not a cohesive and fully integrated approach with a lot of other things that exist right now. So what we're trying to do is to really bring different aspects into this, not only understand the genetic and proteomic kind of information that is associated with an individual, but bring in technologies that have been developed by engineering, chemistry, and other types of sciences, so we can actually have a much more cohesive approach in addressing each individual's medical needs. And the way we do that is we've built a series of platforms that involve things like personalized devices that can monitor and treat individuals. These are based on basically advances in electronics and other types of sensing capability, wearables, so we can actually understand what each person needs. Alternatively, we're also interested in developing personalized implants and regenerative medicine approaches. And this is, again, based on things like understanding what the individual needs through non-invasive imaging and biological markers that they have, and then be able to design 3D print, perhaps, specific constructs that will be relevant for that individual. Also, we have a couple other platforms, personalized models, as well as personalized materials, which are, again, aiming to develop new technologies and be able to make models of specific person's physiology so we can understand their disease and then be able to address it. So this is what we're working on at the Institute, and I encourage people to connect with us. So one of the things that I think you should all do right now, many hundreds of you, is to connect with us through our social media platforms, both the Institute platforms as well as my own personal platforms, where I will be very happy to give you a lot more information about these types of things that we're doing. And also, I encourage people to go to our website and look at some of the other things that we have. I'm putting a shameless plug for some of the things I'm doing. I'm also doing a seminar series as well as a series of fireside chats on various topics, which I think people will be interested on. And also, I'm interested in hiring the best and the brightest at the Institute. So we are hiring a number of positions at various levels, and we're hoping that people who are interested in this field can join us. So let's get started with what the topic today is about, which is really on how do we try to make an impact with the kind of research that we're doing. And I couldn't start the talk in any other way than to talk about Bob Langer. Bob Langer was my PhD advisor when I was getting my PhD at MIT, and as many of you know, he is really the pioneer scientist and the person who's been many times basically compared to Edison in his development of real-world practical applications that has been able to launch dozens of companies and over 1,500 patent applications. So before we talk about my own experiences, I wanted to tell you what I learned from Bob about how he goes about doing innovation and how he goes about starting companies that he has developed. And I think that's important to know because at least it gives you a perspective on what is the approach that has worked over and over. So these Bob's rules basically are as follows. There's 5 of them. You know, try to develop a product company that has a strong product that can be sold in the market, and it's got a big market ideally that people will have interest in. Try to really make something that is a platform technology. So try to really do something that is not just a one-trick pony, but is something that can be applied to many different applications. So if you have a technology that can be used for diabetes and at the same time can be used for cardiovascular disease and musculoskeletal disease, then that's the kind of stuff. It's a platform approach that can be used for many things. And just to give you an example of that, Moderna Therapeutics, which is one of Bob Langer's recent companies that has gained a lot of attention, started off as a company that was making RNA-based drugs for different applications. But when